Have you ever paused to consider the monumental decisions quietly shaping the technologies that impact your daily life?
Or maybe wondered what the brilliant minds building our future truly envision for us.
Today, we're doing exactly that.
Yeah, this deep dive is all about the transformative power of artificial intelligence. We've been sifting through some, well, fascinating insights,
Right.
drawn directly from a recent, very candid conversation with a key figure who's, right at the absolute forefront of this field.
Someone not just watching, but actually doing.
Exactly, someone who's actively shaping the very fabric of our technological tomorrow.
That's right. So our mission today is to extract the most pivotal insights, maybe some surprising facts too, from their reflections.
Reflections on AI's journey so far and the mind-bending future of things like AGI, human-computer interaction, even robotics.
We're basically giving you a shortcut to understanding the why and the what's next in AI, straight from someone living it,
We'll try to cover everything, from like the wild ambition of the early days.
to what's actually possible, maybe the next decade or so. Okay, let's unpack this.
So when we look back at the very beginning, the start of this ambitious venture, it's striking just how audacious the initial decision was.
You mean the goal to pursue artificial general intelligence, AGI?
Exactly, AGI, which back then was seen by almost everyone as just, well, completely far-fetched.
It's kind of hard to imagine now, but
Yeah.
yeah, a time when, as this figure put it, 99% of the world thought we were crazy.
Crazy is probably the right word.
So what gave that tiny 1% of the world the conviction, the belief in unimaginable superintelligence coming in just 10 or 20 years, when everyone else was so skeptical?
Well, it definitely wasn't a logical jump for most people. This vision, it resonated with a small but really deeply committed group, people who saw beyond the current limitations.
And our sources mention how close they came to not even starting.
Oh, incredibly close. AGI honestly felt like a total pipe dream, and the existing competitors, they just seemed impossibly far ahead.
So many reasons not to do it.
Like a billion reasons, as they said.
Yeah.
The decision was apparently incredibly coin flippy. The doubt was immense.
And this is where that human element really comes in, isn't it?
Totally.
It took this core group getting together, sit in a room, look each other in the eye and say, all right, let's do this.
Yeah.
That kind of conviction, even when you're facing something so ambitious, against all the odds, it can be the make or break moment.
It really can. It shows you have to lean into those moments, even with doubt.
Lean in with belief.
And that profound conviction, kind of ironically, became this magnet for talent.
Right, because it was different.
Exactly. When you're chasing a crazy, exciting, and important mission that, crucially, other people aren't doing,
Yeah.
you create this unique draw.
So the smartest people who believed in it.
They didn't have many other options, did they? As the sources highlight, there wasn't really anywhere else for them to go to pursue that specific vision.
Which concentrated all that passion in one place.
An incredible amount of focused, passionate individuals. That became a foundational ingredient for the breakthroughs later on.
That concentration of brilliant minds, yeah, that definitely paved the way. So from those audacious origins, that sheer conviction, it's wild to think how different AI actually looked just a decade ago.
Oh, completely different.
Before any of this felt real, we're talking way before the first language models that worked in like any meaningful way.
Right. Teens were just trying to get AIs to play video games.
Or that little robotic hand.
Yeah. It's the little robotic hand that could sort of barely do a Rubik's Cube. It's such a stark contrast to today, almost unbelievable.
Absolutely. And back then, no clear product, no revenue plan.
None at all. Teams were essentially sitting around at conference tables and whiteboards trying to come up with ideas for papers to write.
Just pure research, really.
It shows how nascent and experimental the whole field was. The idea of modern AI, like the models we chat with now,
Science fiction.
completely in the realm of science fiction, it truly seemed improbable at the time, which makes those first steps even more remarkable just for the sheer audacity.
And then came a crucial early discovery, something that actually went against the grain.
Yes, the scaling laws.
Which wasn't obvious back then.
Not at all. It wasn't some basic truth. It was a novel insight, and it became fundamental.
What would it mean, practically?
It meant they realized that just throwing more data and more computing power at these models, it would lead to exponentially better performance.
Oh, okay.
That insight propelled us from those simple video game AIs to the powerful language models we have now.
It's fascinating how what seems kind of obvious now was once a revolutionary breakthrough.
That insight into scaling, it fundamentally reshaped the whole trajectory.
Right.
It proved that brute force computation, if you apply it intelligently, could unlock capabilities people thought needed, more elegant algorithms alone.
And the current AI landscape is basically a direct result of writing those scaling laws.
Absolutely. Which brings us to now, we're really in an interesting time.
Interesting. Feels like an understatement. There's this idea of a product overhang. Could you explain that?
Yeah, so imagine you've invented this super-powered engine. It can power planes, rockets, whole cities.
Okay.
But so far, people have only really used it to make slightly faster cars.
Got it. So the potential is way bigger than the current applications.
Exactly. That's kind of where AI is. The model's capabilities, what they can do, are way ahead of the products we've actually built with them yet.
Which means
Opportunity. A huge amount of new stuff to build. Even if the models didn't get any better from today, which of course they will.
and adding to that opportunity, the
Yeah.
cost.
The cost per performance for using these models is falling quite dramatically.
Okay.
Plus, we're seeing these open source models emerge that are going to, I think, surprise people with their power.
And you'll be able to run them locally on your own machine?
Yeah, some incredibly powerful models running locally. That increased accessibility, the lower barrier to entry. It's a complete game changer for developers, for innovators everywhere.
That accessibility sounds like it will just pour fuel on the fire of innovation.
It should.
Because the level of new product innovation using these reasoning models, we haven't really seen it yet, have we?
Not really. These are the models that can actually plan, deduce, solve complex problems, more logical,
Not just pattern matching or text generation.
Right. Which makes this an exceptional time to go build a company. There's just so much untouched potential.
And on a personal note, the figure we're discussing mentioned a favorite recent launch,
Yeah.
the memory feature.
Ah, yes. Memory.
That's the big deal there. It's not just recalling chats, is it?
No, it's much deeper. It's about the AI genuinely building a personalized understanding of you.
How so?
Your preferences, your projects, your habits, connecting to your data, and then
Right.
proactively helping you.
Like an assistant who actually knows you.
Exactly. Think of an AI remembering your flight preferences, your family's birthdays, your work deadlines, and then maybe drafting an email or suggesting a gift without you asking.
Because it's running all the time in the background.
That's the idea. Constantly learning and anticipating.
That memory feature really does hint at this agentic future, doesn't it?
It really does. Where AI moves beyond just being, say, a Google replacement, a reactive tool you query.
Right.
It evolves into something more like a very junior employee.
A junior employee. How?
You give it a task, it goes off, does a bunch of work, maybe few-hour chunks of computer work, and comes back with a proposal.
So it's shifting from information retrieval to active autonomous assistance.
Precisely. It's a fundamental shift.
That's a huge leap from just a search bar. But this vision of the interface melting away, just telling your computer what you want. What are the big hurdles? Trust. Reliability.
Trust and reliability are definitely key, ensuring the AI consistently acts in your best interest. But the vision also includes things like special new devices.
New hardware.
Maybe. And pervasive integration into every other service you use. The key isn't just hardware, though. It's the AI companion running in the background, making judgments for you.
And where does this computing happen? Local? Cloud?
It'll likely be a mix. Running local models could offload a significant chunk of the cloud workload. That would be huge for infrastructure.
But not everything can run locally.
No, a lot will still need the cloud, especially for the most complex, large-scale models.
And imagine when these different threads combine. Reasoning, multimodality.
Yeah, the ability to think logically evolving alongside models that get text, images, sound, video seamlessly.
So the vision is for integrated models.
Mm-hmm.
Deep reasoning plus true complete multimodality. Perfect video, perfect coding.
Everything, leading to, as they describe it, a real new kind of computer interface.
So not just a chatbot.
Not just a chatbot, more like a dynamic thinking, creating companion, perceiving and interacting in a much more integrated way.
This convergence, especially vision, speech, reasoning. That brings us to embodied AI, right?
Sure.
The robot future.
Exactly. The vision is pretty bold here. Humanoid robots doing real work in the real world in just a few years.
A few years. Seriously.
And that's the ambition, potentially automating the entire supply chain.
And I heard something about a free robot.
Yeah, the idea of sending a free humanoid robot with the highest subscription tier of an AI service.
Wow. That's a massive statement about where they think this is going. The accessibility, the capability.
It is. The mechanical challenges, the cognitive challenges, they've been immense. But it now feels, within grasp.
So we can genuinely see robots doing super useful stuff very soon.
It seems increasingly likely, and this has profound geopolitical implications, too.
So?
Well, think about industrial capacity, manufacturing. It's a huge challenge for many nations.
Right, bringing jobs back, competing globally.
AI and robotics offer a new possibility there. A way to bring manufacturing back to certain regions, maybe providing solutions beyond the failed stuff tried in the past.
So it's a strategic shift with global consequences.
Potentially, yes.
And beyond the hardware, the manufacturing, there's this concept of the age of intelligence.
Right. In this era, one person, or maybe a small group, armed with powerful AI tools,
Can achieve way more.
incredibly more than ever before. It vastly increases productivity, the quality of stuff we'll all get for each other.
It's not just incremental change then.
Yeah.
It's a fundamental shift in human capability.
Magnifying what each of us can do. The potential impact is even being compared to the transistor.
The transistor, that's a huge comparison.
Think about it. The transistor shrunk computers from rooms to pockets, reshaped everything, drove down costs, made tech ubiquitous.
Okay, yeah.
This figure is suggesting AI could spark an even more rapid and profound transformation.
More than the transistor.
Potentially faster, steeper improvements, not just in tech, but in fundamental scientific discovery itself.
Like what?
Imagine AI accelerating breakthroughs in medicine, climate science, new materials, creating solutions that lead to a truly radical abundance for everyone.
That's wow.
Yeah.
A future almost beyond current comprehension. Which brings us to a crucial question for anyone thinking about building this future. How do you build defensible AI startups now?
Yeah, in this constantly shifting landscape.
Our sources are very clear on this point. This is the best thing time ever in the history of technology ever, period, to start a company.
Strong words.
Because the ground is shaking, which creates huge challenges, obviously, but also these unparalleled opportunities.
Suppose brave enough to jump in, yeah. But the advice is pretty stern. Avoid just building a version of the popular AI tools already out there.
Don't make another ChatGPT wrapper, basically.
Essentially, yeah. Aspiring entrepreneurs should focus on finding unique problems that no one else is really solving properly.
Why is that so important?
Because the most enduring companies are usually not doing the same thing as everybody else. It gives you that breathing room initially.
Time to figure out the product, the tech.
Before you have to worry too much about competitors jumping in.
And speaking of defensibility, how do you build it? Initially, it's just being first.
Often, yeah. Just having the only product out in the market. Then you build the brand, add features like that, memory and connections we talked about, create real value, lock in.
And it's about being contrarian but right.
Absolutely. Having conviction even when really respected people tell you you're wrong.
There was an anecdote about that, wasn't there? A critical email.
Yeah, getting an email from a highly respected figure basically saying 0% chance of success.
Ouch.
It really drives home how tough it can be to stick to your vision. Takes immense mental fortitude to push through that kind of skepticism.
That external doubt makes conviction harder.
And it also makes the conviction you do have more valuable. Right?
True. And in terms of hiring for these ventures, what's the philosophy?
It's pretty clear. Focus on really smart people who are clearly really driven and really productive and can work as part of a team.
Smart, driven, productive team players seems straightforward, but...
The key nuance is hiring for slope, not a intercept.
Slope, not E-intercept, meaning potential over polish.
Exactly. You prefer young, scrappy talent, people with high potential for growth, a strong track record of actually doing things.
Over maybe overly polished administrators.
All right. People who might be excellent at their current level, but maybe lack that raw drive, especially needed in the early chaotic stages.
Makes sense. Leading a company right at the cutting edge, though, that sounds incredibly demanding.
Described as an unimaginable challenge. Dealing with just an incredible number of simultaneous tasks, constant pressure.
Like context switching constantly.
Yeah, the figure noted there's just more context than I thought it was possible to handle at once. Constantly switching between huge, unrelated decisions. It sounds like relentless mental strain.
Which emphasizes the long-haul nature of this journey.
Definitely. Conviction and resilience are paramount, especially over a long period, as those initial reserves inevitably wear down.
So you need to develop trust in yourself.
Trust in your own instincts, yeah. And the courage to work on stuff that is out of fashion, but is what
Mhm.
you believe and what you care about,
Yeah.
being able to endure the valleys.
And finally, there was that really compelling analogy comparing being an entrepreneur to having a child.
Ah, yes, that was quite striking.
The good parts are much better than you can imagine, like an indescribable joy.
Right.
But the hard parts are shockingly much harder than anyone can express.
Ugh.
You face challenges nobody can prepare you for.
And yet,
Despite all that, you just have to keep going.
yeah,
It really captures that blend, doesn't it? Overwhelming challenge and profound reward.
it really does. So to kind of wrap up this deep dive, the journey of AI, it's been one of these audacious bets, constant learning,
From science fiction to, well, to now.
leading us to a future of potentially unimaginable intelligence, powerful agents, and just unprecedented human capability.
An era where what one person or a small team can achieve is just dramatically amplified.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets really interesting for you, our listener. Standing here at the thin edge of this spear, living a little bit in the future, what possibilities does all this spark for you?
What questions does this deep dive raise in your mind? About your own work, maybe your future, the world around us?
We genuinely want to hear your thoughts, your suggestions too.
Please share your insights down in the comments below. Tell us what you're curious about, what you'd like us to explore further in future deep dives.
Your engagement really helps us shape where we go next.
It does.
And if you found this deep dive valuable, please take just a second to like this video, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and definitely hit that notification bell.
So you don't miss any of our future explorations.
And of course, if you know someone who'd appreciate this shortcut to being well informed on all this, please share this deep dive with them.
Your support really helps us keep bringing you these kinds of in-depth conversations.